Okay, are we on?
We are on.
Okay, this has been a technology disaster for me today. I screwed up twice trying to get on live. Some days are just like that. So anyway, for those of you who are here, thank you for showing up. Hope you're staying well and healthy right now during this weird and unprecedented time. Joe and I wanted to, first of all, I'm here with my friend and business partner of 17 years, Joe Garcia. And we're really just here to talk a little bit about, just in general, about how to stay healthy and well during this, this time when we're all at home and struggling with schedules that are abnormal for us. And so we're just going to address some general concepts, and then also if anybody has any specific questions, we'll either answer them, or if we don't have answers for them, we'll find the answers for them. But just in general, I'm going to lob it over to you to begin, Joe. In general, what's the first thing that you think people should be doing right now as far as just maintaining overall health and wellness and well-being?
I would say, first of all, I think the stay-at-home policies that are being issued through the governor in the state of California need to be really taken seriously. I think that there are still kind of pockets of, is this really necessary, or is this being blown out of proportion from the media standpoint and different things like that. And I think what we need to do as a whole is really take it seriously and really start to bunker down as far as staying at home, not doing play dates with the kids. I know that is probably, if you have children at home, the biggest kind of struggle towards staying at home is how do you keep kids entertained without falling into the trap of even asking close friends that are quarantining themselves too as well, but then are going, hey, listen, you've been quarantined, I've been quarantined, let's get together right now. I think it's a little too early for stuff like that. I think that you need to really take it seriously and wait a couple weeks before you decide to kind of go down that route, because that's the kind of stuff that's going to tack on another 2 weeks, and another 2 weeks, and another 2 weeks. The other thing is realizing, Cuomo was talking the other day about states being on different waves. So that's another reason why you should stay home. We're slightly behind New York in terms of the wave and the extremities. So we're going to start seeing cases double and triple within 2 to 3 days. And then that's when things need to become a little bit more serious. Social distancing is another thing that we need to really kind of respect and not go to parks and different hikes and scenarios that are really, they're overcrowded and they shouldn't be. It's only going to be a matter of time before the city of Los Angeles starts to shut those public areas down, and then we're back in the same scenario, which is, what do I do at home? How do I stay active? How do I stay busy? How do I stay productive? Really. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is create a schedule for yourself. Going into each day with this, all right, what should I do today kind of mentality is not going to be the most beneficial in terms of mental health. It's not going to be the most beneficial in terms of physical health. And those type of behaviors are things that we need to kind of curb right out the way. And if you're not used to creating a schedule because you had either a corporation or a company that you worked for create the schedule for you, keep in mind, a lot of us were working for a company where if they said 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, that was my schedule and that was controlled for me. But now, if we're at home, who's controlling my schedule, right? So that may be a new thing for most people, is to control, gain some practices into controlling your schedule. So the second thing you need to do is create a schedule for yourself and mark off a time where you're going to work out, and not leave it as a scenario where you're just kind of going, okay, I've got nothing to do, so I guess I'll just go work out, or just I'll go on a run or something like that. That may work for the first couple days, but it's not going to work for 6 weeks.
Yeah, and to that point, there was, so I posted some ideas on Monday in a Facebook Live about steps for managing your schedule, because it can be very disorienting for people who are not accustomed to working from home, and who have a regulated schedule and who show up to work and they've got specific, regular, consistent tasks and responsibilities that they have to attend to. And that kind of changes when you are unstructured, and it can be very kind of unnerving. And so there are a million different ways to organize your schedule. I put some of my ideas down there, but what you're saying absolutely makes sense as far as with regard to health and wellness. If you leave that to chance, the likelihood of you finding time for it during an unstructured period of time in your life, the likelihood is much lower than it would be under normal circumstances. So I do think it's super important to make sure that you're taking the initiative to block out time in your schedule for physical activity, for meditation, for stress relief, for fun, for the kids, for cooking meals, whatever the things are that you kind of would put on your short list of things to do for managing health. Super, super important to do that. And that's a really good point. And I want to circle back a little bit too, to what you were saying about making sure that we don't abandon the concept of social distancing and staying at home too early. Boris Weissman, who is a good friend of yours and mine, and has been for many years, and Boris is a medical doctor in Tarzana or Woodland Hills in the Valley anyway. He put out a post today that I thought was really interesting. He said, if you're wondering what to make of some of the numbers you see in the news today, keep in mind, I have people that were tested March 16th that are still waiting to get their results. We are not opening by Easter. So Easter is, I think, April 12th. So keep in mind that there's a data lag right now as far as our ability to have gotten results back from testing that was done even a couple weeks ago. So we're not seeing the real numbers yet. We've got to really be patient and see that data.
Right. And the other thing that I would probably say to going back to scheduling is all this information that's being put out there. I would say even schedule a time in the day to do that.
You mean like checking in with the news?
Yeah, like checking in.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I would actually take it a step. Well, you may have been going here anyway, but I would say take a half-hour block or whatever it is that you want to take, and that should be it. Because if you're carpet bombing yourself with constant media information, this is something that Maddie talked about in her Facebook Live on Tuesday, which is, constantly barraging yourself with media information. And there is a well-established negativity bias when it comes to the media. They make money off of the bad news, not the good news. So you're just really living in that toxic stew of negativity and pessimism. And all it seems like it would do is just elevate our stress levels, But I think at the same time, it's important to be informed. So if I'm hearing you properly, what you're saying is, man, just carve out a little chunk to get your.
Yeah, I would say, carve out 15, 20 minutes in the morning to get updated with, what the day is going to bring. And then if you another 15, 20 minutes, maybe in the evening,
right,
to just get updated on the day's events, to do that, but not to end your day like that. Don't end your day by falling asleep to a news outlet. That is the wrong thing to do too, as well. So if you're going to do a pre and post kind of day, kind of bookend your day,
yeah,
make sure that you're ending it on a healthy note with some, just something not related to what's going on. so that you sleep well. I mean, like one of the things that's going to be really detrimental, and one of the reasons why we're even talking about all this, is we don't want anxiety levels to go up. We don't want cortisol levels to go up and then have it affect our sleep cycles. Because if we're not sleeping properly, we're not being able to get that good quality REM sleep that we need. We're not getting into that state of being where we're repairing our bodies and keeping ourselves healthy. Keep in mind, we talked about this really early on when this first outbreak came in, is nobody's talking about the first line of defense. Everybody's talking about washing their hands. Their first line of defense is your immune system.
Right.
So everything that we're putting out, even on our channels, is always going to be around health and fitness and eating vegetables and getting enough sleep. So don't end your day with watching the news, because that's just going to raise your anxiety levels. It's going to raise your cortisol levels, and you're just not going to get the 6 to 8 hours of sleep that you would need in order for your body to repair itself. So that if you do happen, God forbid, to come in contact, and right now they're saying crazy things like 1 in 3 people.
Yeah.
So you want to be best prepared to be able to fight whatever the strain is that you're going to be in contact with, so that you're healthy enough to do so, you know.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, part of the problem with sleep deprivation is, in addition to suppressing your immune system and disallowing your body the opportunity to repair and heal and regenerate, which is super important. And there are a whole bunch of other processes that your body goes through during sleep. It is going to, like you say, it's going to elevate your cortisol, which then promotes overeating and promotes unhealthy eating, which just aggravates everything. So in addition to being, sleep deprived and suffering from the impacts of sleep deficit, then you're going to compound that by impeding or impairing proper immune function by eating crappy foods. I mean, that's essentially what cortisol kind of triggers you to do, is to eat sugary and highly processed foods, which are terrible for gut health, terrible for immune function, because 80% of your immune system resides in your gut. So I don't think we can underestimate the value of quality sleep. And this is a time when we need it more than ever. So I think your idea is great. Don't end the day with something that's going to elevate your stress so that you're lying in bed staring at the ceiling. Not going to help.
Exactly. It's not going to help. And it's funny that you mentioned that too. I posted a picture of me wearing my blue light glasses last night, because I started realizing how much
I have those too. Yeah.
Screen time. And I usually have a practice, and you can get these Amazon. They're really cheap, like 15, 20 bucks. These are my wife's.
Yours look cool, man. I got a pair that makes me look like those. Yeah, those are much better. Mine look like ski goggles or something that Bono would have worn in like the 90s. It's awful. But so you get the style points on that.
Yeah. You got to get something. You got something that you could, at least the kids.
Yeah, I can't walk out the house in mine.
But that might be actually helpful for you. You're not.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
But yeah, what's interesting is I'm actually now wearing them throughout the day, because I used to just do it after 9 p.m.
Yeah, I can't walk out the house in mine. Sorry.
So I used to do it after 9 p.m. and now I'm having to do it throughout the day, because our screen time is so much more, primarily for us too, as well, because we're trying to digitize our business, and we're spending probably a little bit more time on the computer than we would normally do. So
yeah,
I realized yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I really need to get on top of this, because if my sleep is affected, then that starts to create a slippery slope there.
Yeah, because when you're taking in the blue light, it's impeding your ability to produce melatonin, which is so important for sleep. And when we're staring at these screens all day long, it's gonna pose a problem in that area.
Absolutely. I mean, so yesterday, coincidentally, I was wearing my blue light glasses pretty well, and I had some pretty good sleep last night because of it. So I don't know if it's placebo or whatever it is, but
who cares? As long as it works, it doesn't really matter, right? Placebo or not.
I mean, I'm able to fall asleep easier. It was never really hard for me, but I feel a distinct difference when I wear those at night. I knock out. I don't think I even make it past intros of any shows that I make. I'm like,
Yeah, there's another part of that too, and that is that one of the things that's recommended quite often too is start the day with some good sunlight. So in the morning time when you get up, especially since most of us are at home, we should be getting outside and getting that natural sunlight for vitamin D, and also that kind of operates with our body's natural sleep cycle. It kind of supports the regularity of sleep cycle. So getting outside, getting that sunlight, getting that vitamin D, helping regulate your sleep cycle, and then also just being outside in general, I think is something that we can't overlook. We spend somewhere like 70 to 80% of our time indoors now, just as an industrialized culture. And that is not healthy, and that's not beneficial for us. And there's quite a bit of research that goes into the positive and beneficial physiological and mental health benefits of spending time outside and in nature, like around trees and stuff. And this is research-based stuff. This isn't just kind of metaphysical new age supposition. This is really research-based. So, I mean, I think all of that is right on. Limit your screen time, wear your blue light blocking glasses, even if they look horrific like mine. Get outside, get some natural sunlight, spend time outdoors, spend time in nature. What are some things that you're hearing from our members and from people in our community that are specific things that they may be struggling with in general that are related to exercise or eating or anything else? Anything else you're hearing from people as far as things they're struggling with?
absolutely. I think motivation is a big kind of deal right now. Is how do I find, even though we're doing these live workouts on a day-to-day basis and we've created a schedule and different things like that, I think accountability is a big kind of aspect of this whole thing. Now they're in a situation where a lot of people are working out of their homes, but nobody's checking in with them, right?
Yeah.
So that's primarily why we've coupled our live workouts with the 21-day Stronger You program, because we have this app and we're able to give live coaching on a day-to-day basis. So we're essentially in the palm of your hands and able to check in with you from a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis and make sure that you're completing your workouts and that you're getting the right information and that you're feeding your brain and you're eating all the proper fruits and vegetables and different things like that. So there are different ways that we can keep people accountable, but I would say that that's the big thing is having people, because this, I mean, listen, this hit us like a ton of bricks. I think there's not a single person that didn't feel the impact of this in a very harsh, kind of blunt way. So I think when I hear people talk about I'm not really motivated to work out, even though you're doing these live workouts and stuff like that, I think it's just, we need to kind of take, part of that I think is the anxiety behind the big blow, the big initial blow that happened in the early March, where we started to realize, oh, holy cow, we need to socially distance. Holy cow, we need to shelter in place. Holy cow, I can't do anything besides go out and go to the market. That was a big deal there. And it's hard if that really affected you in a big way. I think it's hard to get into a routine of working out when there's nobody going, hey, you need to get up off the couch and start moving.
Yeah, it was really unnerving, so it was unprecedented in its scale as far as how it interrupted the normal flow of our lives. And although we were kind of watching it, it was kind of like a wave that we could see building in the distance. It feels like it crashed real quick, and it was disruptive and it was unnerving. And I think we got kind of imbalanced by that. And so the concept of having somebody to check in with, I think, is really critical. And I think the other thing is keeping it simple right now. If you're not able to do these organized workouts, if you're not able to do live streaming workouts, or if you just don't have it in you right now to be doing 45, 60-minute workouts, keep it simple. 10 minutes, take a 10-minute walk, keep it simple. You just need to move your body and make sure that your body that you're moving your body with regularity and with consistency. And you may need to kind of scale back your expectations on yourself. So if you are kind of thinking, God, I should be doing HIIT classes 5 days a week, this may not be the time for that, for a couple different reasons. Number one, because we're in our uncharted territory and we're off balance, and we need to maybe kind of reset our expectations, and keep it a little simple right now. A 10-minute walk is good enough right now, number one, if you're unable to do these other things. The other thing is that I think that people should be integrating gentle movement, or mobility stuff into their program, so that it's not all just high intensity, hardcore stuff that's going to tear down your body and elevate your cortisol levels. Those workouts are great. I did one this morning. That's great. But yesterday, all I did was the mobility workout that Alina put out at 9 o'clock. So this may not be the time to be doing high intensity training 5 or 6 days a week. You may need to scale that back to maybe once or twice a week, and then really integrate some of that gentle movement stuff in, some yoga, some mobility work, some walks and hikes, and just kind of manage your expectations in a way that makes it a little bit more realistic and reasonable. Set yourself up to win. Because if your expectation is to do a 60-minute workout every day and you're struggling, then let's scale that back. Do a 10-minute warm-up workout, or walk every day, and you're winning. And then you're rolling up those wins, and you're gaining that confidence, and you're establishing self-efficacy.
That's a really good point, because I don't think managing your expectations and thinking that your workouts, if you were in the gym 5 to 6 days a week and you were killing it, and you had all these, summer goals, and let's say you want to lose 20, 30, 40 pounds off, or whatever you needed to do for the summer, or whatever, getting ready for a wedding. I don't think a lot of people are actually speaking to, you need to manage your expectations, and you need to train in a way that you probably have never trained before during this 6-week time period.
Yeah.
That's a really kind of important thing. And I don't think I've actually touched it on as much as we should be with our members, in terms of regulating, like, listen, our 8 o'clock HIIT class on Saturday that we normally do is going to look a little different, because now we got to take a look at not only physical health, but mental health, right? So during this time, we're all high anxiety. I don't think anybody is immune to feeling anxiety around what's going on in the world right now. So we need to supplement training programs that are going to be respectful of that anxiety level.
Totally agree.
And because, you take in the autonomic nervous system and being parasympathetic, which is our fight or flight system. And if we're sitting there bashing our bodies with HIIT training because we're so stressed out that we want to go in and we want to have workouts that we did, like we were doing 4 weeks ago in the gym, that can land you not only in a situation where you're weakening your immune system, but it can also land you into some minor injuries or even major injuries. So I think that's a really good point to try to start to talk about more and more, is manage your expectations on what these online workouts are supposed to look like.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to sound like a dream killer, but honestly, this is not the time to be worrying about your abs. Okay. This is not the time to be, this is not the time to be trying to get your Instagram body. And that is simply because we're in unprecedented territory with an unusual and extraordinary amount of stress. And if we just keep piling up stress upon stress, then the total overall biological stress that we're piling onto our body is going to pay a high toll. Right now, my recommendation is, from an expectations perspective, is really to make it about health and wellness. Manage your health and wellness. Move your body with consistency, but with respect. You know, focus on nutrient density. You know, don't worry about keto and intermittent fasting and, you know, all these different things. Focus on nutrient density, whatever your specific and particular eating norm is. Just optimize the diversity and the density of the nutrients that you're taking in. Your body needs that. And that means a wide spectrum of fruits and vegetables, like you were saying. That means, you know, cold water fish if you happen to eat fish. If you eat meat, that means pasture raised and grass fed meat. It means being attentive to optimizing the food that you're putting into your body so you can support and sustain your immune system and so that you can reduce total overall biological stress. It means getting as much sleep as you can. It means doing some sort of a meditation or relaxation on a regular basis. And then if you can, finding time for fun. You know, fun matters, finding flow in your life, and also social connection, because we know that social isolation can promote stress and anxiety and increased unhappiness. And so really it gets down to what you and I call the 5 pillars: eat, move, recover, play, connect. You know, and so if we can really be taking a look at how can I make some progress in each one of those areas of my life with reasonable expectations, with the expectation of simply trying to optimize my health and wellness and my mental well-being right now, and not placing that unnecessary expectation of getting that Instagram body right now, I think that we're going to be better served by that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's a funny thing that you bring up fun too. I had a quick story. We did a virtual run yesterday with Will. Yeah. At 12 p.m. and we found Arvin, one of our members, recommended this app called Run Zombie Run. And so I took the kids, I put them into the stroller, and I had them hold on to the app. And the app basically walks you through and kind of gives you a little screen name like Alpha 59er. You're going to be heading into the forest, or you're going to be going down. And the cool thing about the app is along your run, and it kind of, you know, you pick your playlist like you would normally do, and the app will kind of intermittently come on and just be like, all right, you just picked up a water bottle. So long story short, you pick up all these things, but the fun part about it was the kids were having so much fun while I was on this run, and they would yell out, hey, we just picked out a water bottle. Oh, hey, we just picked up a flashlight. And then when the zombies would come, it would be like, all right, Dad, you got to run. We got people, you know, running after us. And what the funny thing is, the kids had a great time. I'm sure that some of my neighbors think I'm kind of crazy because I was running through the neighborhood yesterday going, the zombies are coming. The zombies are coming.
That's great, though. I mean, listen, but that is so important right now, I think, more than ever before, because we need to get out of our heads. Oh, you know, we need to get out of our heads, and we need to be stupid, and we need to be silly. And there's benefit to that in so many ways. Physically, as far as your mindset and your mentality, getting away from this constant kind of worrying about what's going on and just being a kid. I got to tell you, I mean, with regard to that, and which sounds awesome, is I go on walks and runs every day because I love to do that, and I have such a great opportunity to do that right now. So Melina and I will go walking or running in different neighborhoods. We just like to kind of explore, and I'm seeing dads playing catch with their sons in the front yard. I'm seeing people on skateboards and roller skates, footballs being thrown, basketball in the front yard. I got to tell you, it looks like the world looked like when I was a kid, because that's just how the world looked like when I was a kid, you know, but we've kind of gotten so far away from that. Maybe one of the silver linings from this experience, you know, if we want to try to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, then one of the things that we can take a look at is the fact that people are, I think, just getting out and being active in a healthy, recreational, fun, family, interactive way, and a safe way too. You know, And I think that it's super, super cool as well.
I completely agree with you. You know, I think we had the silver lining to kind of go along with that is we have an opportunity to connect with our communities and friends and families in ways I think that we haven't been able to do in decades.
Yeah.
In decades. Since, you know, coincidentally, you know, the whole internet kind of thing created, you know, social media and everything kind of created this distance.
Yeah.
You know, I remember talking about this in the last couple of years where it's like everybody's in their bubble, right?
Yeah. Social media is really not social.
It's really not social, but what's the funny, ironic thing about it is all these different technologies that created this social divide with all of us are now are
Bringing people together.
To bring people together.
I think that's because we're actually using it in a productive way right now.
Right.
I mean, I think our use of technology, yeah, it was the way that we were using. It's never the tool. It's how you're using it, you know?
You're swinging the hammer the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's don't blame the hammer. Blame the arm swinging it, you know? So yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah,
that totally makes sense. The last thing that I wanted to bring up, and then we'll cut this off, is I've heard a lot of people, you know, I've seen a lot of people posting things on Facebook about how they're eating too much, you know, and they're bored and they're eating the wrong foods. And that's a tough one, you know, because when you're home all day and you're in the presence of food constantly, and you may have an unusually open schedule, there is a tendency to kind of eat because you're bored, you know.
Unusually large pantry,
right, exactly, because all of us, I mean, hopefully I know that I didn't hoard things like everybody else, because I arrived at the party too late, man. There was like nothing left. I've got a bunch of fruits and vegetables, but I think the key to that too, I think one of the keys to that is, you know, the best way to avoid temptation is to not be in the presence of temptation. So really minimize the crappy food that you have in your house. If you have a bunch of sugary, sweet, unhealthy things in the house, you're gonna eat it, you know, and you're gonna walk through the kitchen and you're gonna open the cabinet and you're gonna take 2 M&Ms, and every time you pass through the kitchen, you're gonna do that. That's human nature. There's nothing wrong with you. The best way to avoid doing that is not to rely on willpower, because that will fail you, is to not have the M&Ms in the house. Maybe just keep them in the house on the weekend or something like that. But I know that for most people, the struggle of
people are going to get a family size of M&Ms during this whole thing.
Oh yeah, but listen,
how you survive this thing.
I am not going to lie. The last weekend, or I don't remember if it was last weekend or the weekend before, I killed it. I mean, I ate a couple things of ice cream. I ate chocolate covered pretzels. And listen, I'm not a Puritan. I'm not the kind of person that says there's no room for that in your life. We need to be real. But if you're eating enough of that it's making you uncomfortable about it and that you're feeling bad about it, that's when you need to just kind of take note of it and do what you can do to just not have it in the house. Because if it is in the house, you will eat it. There's nothing wrong with you. That's just human nature. So the best thing I think to do under those circumstances is to not eat it. And I think this is or not have it in the house. And I think this is such a wonderful opportunity for people to cook, you know, and to cook together as families. It's like, what a wonderful opportunity to kind of explore that whole side of things as far as just cooking and bringing your family into it as well. So
I think that there are a lot of opportunities in this time that are going to change the way we interact with each other.
I hope it's lasting. You know what I mean? Like I hope it's lasting.
Because it's beautiful.
It is. It's very cool. It's very cool. All right, so let's close this down. I do just want to bring your attention to a comment that was made, and this is a very serious comment by AJ. When making chicken salad out of chicken shit, do I use mustard or mayo? Excellent question, AJ. As always, your insight is spectacular. I'd say go for something spicy too, really.
Yeah,
Mustard, mayonnaise, spicy.
Mustard all the way. I don't even know what mayo is.
Yeah, it's nobody knows what mayo is. It's just they just know it's not good for you.
Yeah,
All right. So listen, everybody who hung around and checked in, thank you so much for stopping in. Joe and I are going to be doing this on a regular basis. And, the point of it really is to begin a dialogue about health and wellness in general. So any questions that you have related to health and wellness in the fields of exercise, eating, meditation, recovery, those kinds of things. If we don't know the answer, we will find it for you. But let's kind of create this ongoing dialogue where we can explore ways to really optimize our health and our wellness, especially during a very, very strange time. And just so everybody knows, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., Stacy Garcia will be doing a core class live on her Facebook page. Stacy is the best when it comes to core training, hands down. And then she's also going to be doing a 12 p.m. live focusing on nutrition. So those will be some good opportunities for people to check in and get some more workouts and some more good information. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any additional questions or comments or suggestions or anything, please put them in the comment section below. Anything from your side, Joe?
Stay at home. Stay at home.
Stay home.
And appreciate the time right now with your friends and family, and stay social.
Absolutely. And with that in mind, we are having a virtual happy hour on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Everybody except for AJ is invited. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will talk with you soon. Stay healthy. Have a great day.
Have a good one.